Welcome back. We are going to do the brain now. That's our next section. So you will see we've done this and we're still busy with the central nervous system. Okay, and we have done the spinal cord now. You know what the spinal cord looks like. Now we're going to go into more detail on the brain. Remember, we are busy with the central nervous system. Like I said, in the center, Mr. Fenter, the brain and the spinal cord. Right, so that's the two parts of the central nervous system. This part here, this grayish, liney things here, we call the peripheral nervous system. So it's easy to explain. The central nervous system, periphery. It's to the sides. It's to your arms, it's to your legs, it's to all the organs there. Those are the nerves there. We will do that at a later stage. But today we are concentrating on the central nervous system. Right, this is a view of the brain on the outside, the external view, if you could take somebody's brain. Now usually it will be grayish, but this is a dead brain, so it becomes white after a while. The reason why the brain is grey on the outside is that the nerve cell bodies has nuclei and cytoplasm, which is greyish. So you'll have a greyish tinge on the outside of the brain. If you cut open the brain, you'll see it's white on the inside because that's the nerve part, the fiber part of the nerve cells, which is more white in color, right? And you will maybe think, why is the brain like folded? If you look at this, look at all these folds here, right? That is because, okay, sorry, can I start again? What happened now?
No, just support. Just erase the...
Okay.
No, you are right. You can just start with...
Yeah, I'll just say, okay, I'll go on. Yeah. Pen. So if you... Okay. If you look at the brain, you'll see it's got a lot of folds here. Right. That folds is to increase the surface area because you've got billions and trillions of nervous cells there. If it was just straight, you would have been walking around with a huge head, right? Because the brain will not be able to fit into your skull, right? And you'll see the brain is composed of this big part here, and then there's this small round little thingy here, and then there at the bottom there's a sticky out thing. But we'll go into the detail just now. This is the internal structure of the brain. If you look, this is now they cut it and you can see on the inside. Now you'll see there is a big part, that folded part. That will be your cerebrum, and we'll talk about that in more detail later. That's the biggest part where your thinking goes. This white part here is the corpus callosum. Corpus callosum. Then you have the hypothalamus here, right? Hypothalamus, and you've got your pituitary gland hanging here. And this little thingy here, but it's actually the second biggest part of the brain, is called the cerebellum. And you can see it looks like a little tree. There you can see it looks like branches of a tree. We call that the tree of life, but you don't need to know it. But next time you buy a trinket with a tree of life, you know where it comes from. All right. And there's the brain, the pons of Rowley, and here's the medulla oblongata and the spinal cord. But let's have a look at the way in which you will see it in your exam papers and so on. Maybe not in so much color though. But firstly, when we look at this picture, you'll see the big beige part, like I said, the folded part. That's the cerebrum, right? Now, the corpus callosum was that white part there that you can see now. It's drawn nicely. There's the hypothalamus, right? And this part here, sorry, I've drawn the wrong place there. There's your pituitary gland. There's a little pea-sized gland hanging down there. Pons of Rowley here. You do not need to know the pons of Rowley. I'm just telling you that bump, you need to look for the bump there, because just below that bump you find the medulla oblongata, and then the spinal cord will be below the medulla oblongata. And then this yellow thing here with a tree of life there is the cerebellum. Now, one very important thing that you need to remember is that the cerebrum and the cerebellum, it sounds sort of the same, but it's not the same. And at the marking venue, we do not accept any spelling errors as so far the cerebrum and the cerebellum goes. We don't. Because some children, I don't know whether they get confused or they want to try and trick us, they're not sure which one it is, then they will say cerebrum or something like that. They will switch around the L's and the R's. No, we do not accept it. If it's any spelling mistake in those two words, we don't mark it. So make sure that you know the spelling of those two words. Right, so let's go into more detail of each part. Firstly, how is the brain protected? Well, the brain is in your head here, in the skull. This is your skull, right? But within this skull, there's a hollow, a bony hollow, and we call that the cranium. It's very important that you know this term because it links back to human evolution. You're going to do human evolution a little bit later, and you need to know what the cranium is. That's the place where the brain is situated in, right? The next part is the meninges. Now you know this word already from the spinal cord. That's those three membranes. There's three of them. It's wrapped around the brain. It's wrapped around this brain here, right? And it keeps it in place. And the bony, you can see here the bony cranium. There's the bony cranium. And can you see that the brain is not filling it up totally, right? Because if the brain was up to here and a small bump, then your brain will be damaged. So the bony casing is there to protect against mechanical injury, as well as the membranes around this brain. And the next thing that is also protecting the brain is the cerebrospinal fluid. The cerebrospinal fluid. Now let's just look at this now. So you got your brain, and there are three membranes wrapped around this brain. And in between the brain and the membranes, you've got your cerebrospinal fluid. So the brain is basically floating in this fluid. And it's also surrounded with the fluid between the membranes and the bony casing. So that when you walk around, your brain is, and you bump your head, it is not just damage there. Like it's shock absorption and it's kept in place. Right, imagine if you didn't have a skull and your brain was flopping around like this above your head. So many people would have died quickly because the first bump, you're dead. Right, so we need this protection, the three protections. First, the bone, the cranium. Secondly, the three membranes. And thirdly, the cerebrospinal fluid. Let's move on, the cerebrum. Like I said, spelling. Look at the spelling. Now the cerebrum is this big part here of the brain. And it's always gray on the outside and white on the inside. Opposite of the spinal cord. It's the largest part of the brain and it controls voluntary actions. What do we mean by voluntary actions? I decide I want to go there. I decide I want to write something. I want to eat cake. I want to go and shop. Your brain goes, it tells your legs, go walk to the shop. You get what I'm saying? That's voluntary. So your cerebrum controls your voluntary movements. It also higher thought processes. Remember, that's the reason why we are living in houses, having cars, technology is there, because we have the ability for abstract thought, higher thinking, making decisions, judging, stuff like that. It receives and interprets impulses from the sense organs. Remember, 5 organs, sense organs, your eye, your taste buds, your nose, smelling, your ear for hearing, and your skin. So all this information goes to your brain, it interprets it, and you react accordingly. Next, the hypothalamus. Now this one is the one that you can blame for a lot of things in your life. We know that teenage boys are very hungry always, right? First break already, you've eaten all the bread of yours, your friends, everybody you see, you're hungry. Now the reason why you're so hungry, it's the hypothalamus, because it controls the hunger. Secondly, thirst. is controlled by our hypothalamus. Thirdly, sleep. Remember when you ate all that food in your mom's house, now you're sleepy? It's the hypothalamus' fault. Body temperature, you know now with all the situations in the country that we have regular checks on our body temperature. It should be around 37, maybe 36.8, around there. It's constant body temperature, which is controlled by the hypothalamus. And emotions. If you feel sad, it's not your heart that is sore, it's your hypothalamus' fault. All right. Let's move on. The pituitary gland, that little pea-sized thingy hanging there. Now that is a master gland, and we will do that in much detail when we do the endocrine system. So today I'm not going to talk about the pituitary gland in detail. Just know where it is located at. So now we're going to look at the medulla oblongata. That transfers the nerves, impulses between the brain and the spinal cord. Now, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to see that because the medulla oblongata is located in between the brain and the spinal cord. Right, so it transfers the signals, or not the signals, the impulses through to the spinal cord. Now, the medulla oblongata is a very important part of our brain, and it controls our heartbeat, our breathing, peristalsis. Now, if you remember from grade 11, when you eat, there's peristalsis taking place in your digestive system. So when you eat that pizza, it goes down the gullet, and now it sits here. You can't tell yourself, okay, now it must go down, go down. You can't. Peristalsis is when the muscles start to contract, pushing that food bolus down, and this one is relaxing, and then this one is contracting, and the next one is relaxing, so that the food can be pushed down. That is peristalsis. Now, the medulla oblongata also will control your peristalsis. Swallowing, to actually swallow that pizza, you need your medulla oblongata. Reflexes like coughing, now you ate the pizza and the pizza has now went down the wrong hole, it's into your lungs. Now the medulla oblongata is telling your breathing muscles, please contract and relax so you can cough and get that pizza out of your lungs so you can live. Or blinking, that's when that mosquito goes for your eye and you just blink in time so that the attack is ward off. Sneezing is when the mosquito goes up in your nose and you sneeze it out. So the medulla oblongata is really looking after you. Thermoregulation we will be doing after homeostasis. That's the way your skin will cool you down or warm you up. But we're not going to look at that now. All right. So the medulla oblongata down here is very important. If that is damaged, you are basically brain dead because your heart won't beat, you won't breathe, all these things won't happen. Next, the cerebellum. Right now, look at the double L there, the cerebellum. Second largest part of the brain, coordinates the skeletal muscles. What that means is the following. As you are walking, the one leg goes in front of the other one. You don't try to get both legs in front, you'll fall down. Right, that's where the coordination comes in. Maintains balance so that you don't fall over like this. Right, maintains balance. Then it maintains muscle tone. Your muscles are supple, they can move. People that are damaged or their cerebellum is damaged, their muscles become very taut and they need physiotherapy to keep their muscles more supple and make movement possible. The next one is the corpus callosum, like I said. That one connects the left and right hemispheres of the brain. So you have a right and a left hemisphere of your brain, right? They need to communicate with each other because the left hand is abstract, doing math. The right hand is very creative, doing paintings. So they have to communicate with each other. The one can't go off painting and the other one doing math, right? They must do it together. They must go together, think together. Another interesting fact is that your right hand hemisphere controls your left side of your body and your left hand hemisphere controls the right side of your body. And the nerves cross over at your medulla oblongata. Right. Okay guys, we're going to go for an ad break now. Get some tea or coffee, some cookies, and then you come back afterwards. Thank you. See you just now.